Hi guys, I'm back with another unboxing today, and this time I've got the new Shimano Ultegra 3000 size reel. I bought it from Digitaka in Japan, and I'm about to pop open the box and take a first look. Okay, so there's some information from Digitaka. Definitely looks very Japanese. Okay, here's the reel. And there's the box. So the Shimano Ultegra, this is the compact size C3000 HG model. Compact meaning that it's a 2500 size body with a 3000 size reel, so you can fit more line on this reel as opposed to the 2500. Okay, I'll take a look at the reel. Okay, there's the usual schematics and fishing reel manual. And here comes the reel. There's the shims for trying to get the best line lay possible. Shimano line lay is excellent. I haven't had to use this before. Okay, so first look at the reel. It's got some really nice black and gold accents on it. In this light it looks predominantly black and gold. There's that little chrome edging on the back that some people complain about. Why not just make the whole thing black? I'm going to swap the handle over. Simply wind it backwards. Okay. So there's a screw-in handle that already feels really nice to turn. Yeah. Being a 3000 size, it has the T-shaped handle knob, which just gives you a little bit more grip when you're fighting bigger fish, which you're probably going to do using a 3000 size reel as opposed to a 2500. Pop the cap back on. For reference, this reel was made in Malaysia and purchased from Japan. So why would you buy a Shimano Ultegra? Well, the Ultegra is positioned as the entry model in what they call their Core Solid series. And the Core Solid series, according to Shimano, is characterized by a really smooth winding feel, which it absolutely has. It feels beautiful, and stable reeling. So basically what they've done is they've made a change to the main shaft, and I'll just take the spool off, take a look at the inside of the spool, the drag clicker, and the main shaft. There we go. This is the main shaft here that runs all the way through the reel. And Shimano basically have said that in their Core Solid series, the main shaft is improved by reducing friction between the main shaft and the pinion gear that's inside, and they've done that by using a special low friction bushing to help support the main shaft. And there's also a special surface treatment on the inside of the main shaft to further reduce any power loss from friction. Basically, they're saying this allows the force used to turn the handle to be transmitted directly to the reel, and it enables really powerful reeling even under a high load. So this is the, I guess, lowest model, so to speak, in the Core Solid series, and the next step up from this is going to be your Shimano Stradic into your Twin Power and then into your Stella. And the Core Solid series is different to the Vanford series, which is the MGL Rotor series, and that's your reels that you want to use when you really need a very lightweight reel and you're doing finesse fishing where you're doing a lot of stop-start reeling. Whereas the description for use for Ultegra and Stradic and Twin Power and then Stella is that you're going to be doing continuous reeling when you're using these. And once you get the reel handle going, then you're going to find that this inertia is continuous, whereas on the Vanford and the Miraval, for example, as well, it's much easier to stop and start the reel. Whereas on the Core Solid series, again, Ultegra and Stradic being the two most common ones, you're going to find that it's easier to continuously reel. So I guess this reel is ideally used for someone that's casting and retrieving continuously, as opposed to finesse fishing where it's stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, and you're trying to work a plastic. Just taking a look quickly at the drag clicker. And the drag clicker is a complaint of mine in the Ultegra. It's got that very basic triangular drag clicker, and that drag clicker clicks on this plastic wheel and gives you your drag clicking sound, and it's not overly satisfying because this in a Stradic, for example, is I think it's a piece of metal or it's much harder plastic, and therefore you're getting a better quality sound. The drag clicker in the Stradic is also like a little hammer that has a spring behind it, and that hammer connecting with a more metallic cogwheel is giving a louder and more satisfactory sound. So the one thing I'd like to see in the Ultegra for the next version is an upgrade to the clicker. This is a 289 Australian dollar reel, and at that price, if you're going to buy it as soon as it comes out at that price, you really need it. You really would expect to have a better drag clicker in the reel at this price point, that's for sure. Okay, we'll just talk about some of the technology in this reel, and the highlight for me when it comes to the Ultegra is probably the stuff on the inside, mainly the gearing. So it has Micro Module 2, which apparently is an improvement to the gear surfaces to make everything nice and smooth and noise free. It has X-Ship, which again is the improved gear performance due to a larger diameter gear. For all intents and purposes, the interior of the reel is very similar to the Vanford. It's the body of the reel that's heavier as a result. It has Infinity Cross as well, which again is an enhancement in the gear contacts and how the gears contact each other. It has a long stroke spool, which I think does make a difference. You're able to cast a little bit further with that longer stroke spool. This is a 3000 size model, so it has a cross carbon drag. So the cross carbon drags start from the 3000 model and higher, and in the 2500 and the 1000 you get the traditional felt washers. I'll be interested to see how the cross carbon drag goes in this, because some people don't particularly like it because it's a bit sticky, but it's also longer lasting, which is a bonus, especially when you're using the bigger size reels. It does say that there's CI4 plus carbon fiber in this reel, but it must be a very small amount. If it's not in the rotor, which it's not, then I'm not actually sure where it's featured. It has a one-piece bail. There's an anti-twist fin in it, which we can see here. So I'll find out if that makes any difference and reduces any line twist or line getting caught on the outside of the reel. Okay, so we'll just check the weight of the reel. It should weigh 220 grams. Perfect. So this weighs 220 grams, and the 3000 size Shimano Stradic weighs 225 grams. So it is 5 grams lighter than the Stradic, which is the next model up in the series. And that 5 gram difference may be because it has some carbon fiber CI4 plus in it somewhere. That's the only reason that I can assume that it's a little bit more lightweight, because they are relatively similar reels. But for those, so how much does the Ultegra cost? In Australia, it's retailing for $289, and generally reels in Australia come off by about 20% when they're no longer new. So it's going to eventually go down to $229 if you can be bothered waiting. If you're an early adopter, you're going to pay that recommended retail price of $289. And I bought this from Digitaka in Japan for $186, including shipping, which is just a massive saving, and it's going to be really hard for Australian retailers to continue to compete with the Japanese global retailers who are selling Japanese products for so much cheaper than they are overseas. You don't get a local warranty, of course, when you do buy from Digitaka, or Platt is the other one in Japan. There's a few of them. So that's the downside. So if something goes wrong, you're probably not going to get looked after by Shimano Australia. You definitely don't have a retailer to return the item to. In comparison, the 3000 size Stradic, that's the next model up in the series. That's $379. So $379 versus $289. That Stradic can now be bought for $299 in Australia, so it's really come down by that 20% or thereabouts to be close to the price of a brand new Ultegra. And the Stradic is a slightly better reel. It only weighs 5 more grams, but you do get the Duracross drag washers in the Stradic. That's Shimano's combination of felt and cross carbon drag, and you do get an extra bearing. And this has 5 plus 1 bearings. In the Stradic you get 6 plus 1, and also in the Stradic you get the better drag clicker. So the drag click is improved, so you get a much louder and more satisfying drag clicking experience. Speaking of, there's the drag clicking sound from the Ultegra. It's not too bad. And we'll see what it's like when I actually start fishing with it and put some line on it. It'll start to sound a little bit different. So I'm going to load this reel up with 15-pound braid. I've got some 15-pound, it says Kairiki, but this is actually 15-pound braid that I took off my previous 3000 sized Akuma reel, which I sold because I didn't like the drag in the Akuma Seimar HD, so I got rid of that. Looking forward to using this one in the surf. I'm definitely going to be using it in salt water. It does have the X-Protect, which is the labyrinth system to stop water from entering the reel. So it can definitely be used for saltwater fishing. And it also has the SARB bearings, which are the shielded bearings. And those shielded bearings provide some extra protection from salt and dirt. So I look forward to using this one to try and catch some salmon this winter off the beach, and putting out long casts with metal lures. So coming back to the question of why would you buy this reel, this reel is probably the first step up into I guess a serious reel for someone who is coming off a Shimano Naski reel, for example. The new Naski is also out. It's retailing for $199 at the moment. So this is $90 more than the Shimano Naski. But if you're fishing with the Naski and you want to step up, find that a lot of people go straight to the Stradic, because the Stradic has just such a great name and reputation, and it's a super popular Shimano reel. When people think of Shimano reels, Stradic's one of the first ones that they think of. But this is just as capable, and it's a little bit cheaper than the Shimano Stradic. It's quite significantly cheaper once this comes off. It's $289 price point. It'll eventually drop to $229 with that 25% off. With that 20% off. The difference between this and the Stradic, once the price settles, you're looking at $229 for the Ultegra. That's Australian dollars, versus $299 for the Stradic. So it is quite a lot cheaper, and it's pretty much just as good a reel as the Stradic. It just doesn't have the quite the popularity or the same reputation as the Stradic does. So this is the reel that you'd buy if you want to step into your first, I'd say, first serious reel. Given how many amazing features it has, and given how good the gearing system is inside this reel, it's a really great choice for stepping into a really high quality Shimano reel. It's going to last you for a long time. And again, the other reason for purchasing this reel, not that I think it makes an enormous difference, but if you are bait fishing, if you are fishing in the surf, if you're casting out lures and retrieving them at a constant pace, then this has the inertia to just keep you rolling. This has the inertia just to keep you casting all day. Once you start turning the reel and it gets going, which is again really easily, it's just absolutely buttery smooth and has so much momentum to it. And you can see once we start rolling it out like that, it's just continuous. So by comparison, I've got the 2500 Miraval here, and if I turn the reel and let it rock for a little while, it's going to come to a halt far faster than the Ultegra does. And that's because this reel is designed to be a bit lighter and to be used more for finesse fishing. And this is part of that MGL series where you're going to want to stop start in order to position your soft plastic or finesse fishing lure in the right position. So you find this won't quite have the inertia that this one does. And that's because this is part of that core solid family that's designed for continuous reeling. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like outside once I get out of the studio lights.